Okay, thanks.
Alith, just to catch you up, we're going to vote to approve the minutes. So, Alith, I'm going to have you vote first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes for Rachel.
Christine says yes.
And Christine says yes. The minutes are approved. Okay, we're going to move into the public portion of our meeting. I'm just going to read out how this is going to happen. So the public portion will now come to order. First, when a matter is called, the applicant or his or her agent will present the case. At this time, originals of any petition should be given to the clerk, Tara. Copies of the petition should then be distributed to the board members. After the applicant's presentation, all interested persons in favor will come forward and speak. After those in favor have spoken, those in opposition will then be heard. The applicant or his or her agent may then address the comments made by those in opposition. Secondly, this meeting is recorded by state law. It's important that we're able to understand the recording. Therefore, only one person speaks at a time, and anyone who speaks must come forward, speak clearly, as our recording device is located in the ceiling of the room. And you must always give your name and address. We welcome the comments of all interested persons, but we must exercise discretion in making sure that your comments are on point, and if you are too far off point, we reserve the right to restrict your comments at any time. Third, applicants and interested persons may remain in attendance after the hearing for the executive session to find out what was decided, or you may call the zoning office tomorrow. Fourth, if an application for a waiver is granted, this waiver is not valid until it's recorded. The applicant must bring a check in the amount of $70 made out to the town of Fairfield to the zoning office on Wednesday or later following the meeting for proper recording of notice of filing. Any waiver involving construction requires an as-built prior to an issuance of a certificate of zoning compliance and a certificate of occupancy. Thank you. Okay. We're going to start with number 1 on our docket, which is general docket. We are going to hear 1 and 2 at the same time, but I am going to read them both into the record. So 1 is 45 through 47 Sterling Street, map 40, parcel 410, petition of AR Housing LLC for a variance to the zoning regulations section 5.3.1 to increase the overall height and number of stories from 32 and 2.5, proposing 33.6 and 3. Permission to allow for a construction area. Premises B zone. And now I'm going to read 2 because this will be at the same time. 51 through 53 Sterling Street, map 40, parcel 410. Petition of AR Housing LLC for a zoning variant of the zoning regulations section 5.3.1 to increase the number of stories from 2.5, proposing 3. Permission to allow due to a construction error. Premises B zone.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board and staff. My name is Kevin Kersaden. For the record, my office is at 243 Broad Street in Milford. I'm here on behalf of AR Housing LLC. My client should be here shortly. He's stuck in a little bit of traffic coming from further south. As was stated on the reading of the application and the notice, we're seeking relief under Fairfield zoning regulations 5.3.1 for 2 different properties. 4547 is for height and number of stories, and 51-53 is for only number of stories. There are two family structures or 2 dwelling units that have 2 dwelling units per structure. They're adjacent to each other. This board had granted a variance for the lot frontage about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. These lots were pre-existing non-conforming lots, and there was a hardship based on the frontage because of the wetlands in the back. That's what this board had decided. So I want to focus on what the legal hardships are, because that's what is important to the board and what's the purview of the of this agency. But I don't want to ignore reality that the structures are already built. They're not completed, and there's no CO issued, but this issue was identified maybe a month or 2 ago by Mr. Decker and this is my client here, Mr. Anand. So when we first found out about it, and I was informed, my first question, and I'm sure it's the agency's question, and maybe some of the neighbors, if there's any here with us today, what happened, why did this happen? I will get into that, but at first, I really want to focus on the legal hardship aspect of it. So the Fairfield zoning regulations, each town has, somewhat different height regulations. Fairfield zoning regulations, the height of the building, the height of the structure is based on the average grade, which is pretty standard for a lot of shoreline communities in Connecticut. The difference with Fairfield as opposed to some other municipalities is upon completion of construction, they're looking at the height of the structure based on the average grade prior to when the construction happened versus after the construction being completed with some grading and backfilling into foundations and things along those lines. So that's one unique aspect. How that plays here for both lots is if you had an opportunity to drive by the property or you're familiar with the neighborhood, there is a significant slope down the street. So coming down the street in front of the property. I looked at the plans today, the original survey for it, and it looked like there was a drop off of about 80 feet elevation down to about 70 foot of elevation when you start. If you're looking at the property from the street, I think it goes right to left, or excuse me, yeah, right to left. I think it goes 80 feet down to about 70 feet. So when you apply the height regulation or to this property, it's not really a function of the structure, it's a function of the land because of the way that the height is interpreted or defined in Fairfield compared to the slope and the grade of the property. So that's one aspect of it, and that actually triggered both of these issues. It triggered the story issue because Fairfield's regulation for stories, if the basement is exposed, I think a certain number of feet above the grade or the base elevation, that also is considered a story. Where in the reverse, if it was the attic that was at issue, the attic's not at issue here, but if it was the attic at issue, Fairfield does allow, I think 50% of the attic before it's considered a full story, and that would just be 2.5 stories, which is allowed. So unfortunately, in this situation, it's the basement. And with respect to the basement, it's considered a story if you have any other use other than automotive parking or storage. And in this particular situation, there's I don't know if it's a couple hundred square feet that is not set aside in the basement for parking right now. I don't think it's roughed out. It's not finished space. So that's the facts as they exist right now. And so when the board knows the standard for granting a variance, so the hardship must arise from the application of the regulations to the property. And in this case, both properties have a significant slope or grade. It must be specific to this property and must result in an unusual hardship not shared generally in the zone. And so a lot of times that's looked at, okay, well, the whole street has a slope, so this isn't unique. But the standard is actually town-wide for the zone. And so I looked at the Fairfield zoning map today, and I compared it with the GIS with the slope. So there's other Residence B zones, some of them are closer to the shoreline, that do not have the same slope issue. They look relatively flat, as most properties adjacent, roughly adjacent to the water, in Connecticut anyway, kind of flatten out almost into the marshes or the coastal areas. So it's our position that it's the grade, the existing grade of the property prior to the construction, and how Fairfield applies the regulations for height and number of stories is the legal hardship to support the variance requests. As an aside, the measurement for height in the regulations, it's fairly clear, but it has a couple of steps to it. It's width-based weighted average grade calculation, and again, requires using the lower of the pre- and post-construction conditions. So that is around a 10-foot offset perimeter of the proposed foundation. So in this particular case, it produced height and story results that were beyond the max allowed when the building was basically already built. It's not complete again, there's no CO. So it's really a building issue, which is a measurement driven by how the regulations operate as they apply to this particular parcel. So that's the variance standard. What I want to point out is that during the process, from the original plans that were approved by Mr. Decker, the buildings are both 4 feet more narrow than they were originally approved. And that was done once they were on site and doing the work, and they realized that the driveways would not have needed to be a little bit wider in order to be safer and function properly. So the square footage of the buildings, each building is reduced by about 12% from what was originally approved. The other thing for me to explain to you is that the buildings are the same buildings that were approved, except for being about 12% less square footage and 4 feet narrower. There's no requests for anything beyond what the building that was already approved for. So the building wasn't built bigger than the original plans. It's a result of how the town measures it. So on these lots, there was a constrained envelope because of the width of the lots was about 10 feet less wide than required by the regulations, which was the previous variance. There's an irregular grade, and the same regulation applies across all of Fairfield zoning regulations for the zone, but it's disproportionately applied here because of the significant slope. So Mr. Anand wants to say a few words when I get to that point. I think that's it. I don't know if the board has any questions for me based on that commentary.
Is this so you want to have us ask you some questions, and then you want to bring up the owner of the property?
If you would like, yeah. If you would like to, if you had any questions.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I do think we have questions for you.
Sure.
Who would like to go first?
I'll go. Or you
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No,
Go.
you go. Go. Okay. Might be my question. So, the question is, it looks like you're looking for it's about 1.5 feet taller than it should be. Is that accurate?
One of the buildings, correct.
One of the buildings, not both of them, just one.
One, yes, correct.
So are you basically saying that the grade of the property post-construction was built up 1.5 feet?
The grade is, I'll let Mr. Anand answer that real quickly if you can. Can you?
I guess I'm trying to understand how it changed.
Yeah, how the grade changed?
Yeah.
Do you want to speak, just give
It's
me your
basically
name and
the
address. Give me your name and address first.
My name is Sachin Anand. I reside at 384 Greenstorms Road in Westport, Connecticut. So I'm an owner slash, mostly relying on my contractors to do kind of work. It's one of the first projects I'm doing in Fairfield to this extent. I develop in many different towns, but Fairfield is this is my first rodeo, you can say, in Fairfield. So that's where.
Yeah, but she just has a specific.
It's basically
question.
the specific question. Like they brought they moved the grades around to fill the property in certain ways. So the foundations are based on the regulations, the way they do it. I think that's what they filled higher. So so that's what the whole question is.
Added fill.
Yeah, is the elevation higher or lower than it was?
It's higher.
grade,
Elevation.
the grade.
The elevation's higher.
We're talking elevation and grade, we're talking about the
Yeah,
same.
I meant the
Same
same
thing.
thing.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah.
So they added 1.5 feet of fill
Yeah. Give or
around the,
Whatever the amount of fill that was added, it resulted in a 1.5 foot difference for the height calculation. Yeah.
And why'd you have to add the fill?
slope.
I know, I want to.
for the slope. Yeah, for the reason for the slope.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know the street, I know the neighborhood, and I know the slope. And it's evident that there's a slope and that you would have to build level and that this side would be higher. Weren't the plans initially drawn up taking that into effect? Like they knew it was going to have to be higher there?
I think basically when architect designed this building, he designed to the thing like before visiting site, he thought the land is dead straight. So he designed the building based on that. But that was the first thing which architect did. He thought it was like basically there's no slope to the property. So that's the reason we have to do these changes because it was not designed to the right slope or something.
I was under the impression, and I could be wrong, that an architect would go to the site and see the way the land lays and then design it accordingly.
In the normal circumstances, that would be it. But that was error in this. That was a
That's
whole
why I
error
wondered
here.
why that happened.
Yeah, that was an error here. So that was.
Okay, so I'm looking at the foundation plan, and you have finished floor elevation called out. So did the buildings not get built starting with that basement level at that correct elevation? Is it already built higher or lower than that 72.5 feet?
The foundation, the garage is at the right elevation, and I think when you put the garage underneath, like we did it, like to create the space that we have to build the walls higher. So that's to get the right height for the garages in. So the ground elevation, the elevation on the ground is at the right elevation, but when they build the garage walls or something, give it like 8 feet or something. That's where the
So the first floor is built taller than it should have
yeah
been?
it's taller. That's what it is basically.
So that was already a change during the construction? So the first floor is 1.5 feet higher than it's supposed to be?
Yeah, the foundation wall. It's basically.
Foundation wall. So that was never picked up as during construction, that?
That's what I usually. I'm not fully active in the construction process all the way through because I work more on finance side, so I leave that to my site work contractor,
Yeah.
and they didn't. That's something there was a whole miscommunication with it. They didn't inform me. Otherwise, we would have changed. If they were doing something on this side, we could have reduced another side building height or something other ways. You know what I'm saying? So that was a miscommunication in our.
I mean, when the inspector came out to inspect the foundation, I don't know if that would pick that up. That's where the mistake started.
That's where the mistake started. So that's what I'm saying. Like if I was informed, I could have been more actively part in it. But I was not there, and I was traveling at that time too. So I didn't get anything negative feedback from inspections or my site work. So that's why we didn't pick it up until the building is already up. So that's the reason. That's
Right, and then that you narrowed the building than it was supposed to have been? Was it?
It was 30 feet. Original proposal was 30 feet by 90 feet. And we built it 26 by 90 because when we put the 30 feet building on it,
Yeah.
the driveway was too narrow for any cars to be turn in correctly.
Yeah.
And we don't want that result to any safety. So I said, we can reduce the square footage of the building. I didn't mind doing that rather than the safety of the people.
So the two buildings are side by, across from each other. Did that distance between the two buildings stay the same? And
Yeah,
you took 4 feet off the outside?
4 feet on the other side, yeah. So we made the driveway.
Yeah.
We made the driveway 4 foot bigger, which are on outside.
Okay, so that also compounds the measurement because on the uphill side, you would get deeper into the side of the hill. No, less deep into the
Less deep.
side of the hill. So that changed the average grade.
Yeah, that might affect if you have.
So these are all,
These are all like a combination of a lot of things happen.
yeah, it's all
And yeah,
compounded.
that's what it is. But because we want to make sure the driveway is adequate enough for people to park inside the driveway, so we don't have any problem people parking in the street, which we don't want as the street is tight, and we're trying to give enough parking within our premises rather than anyone parking on the street. So that was a major decision of making the building narrower, and so that was my.
So, money aside, the way to fix all of this, you have trusses at the roof.
Yes, we have trusses on the roof.
Right. If hypothetically you had to change it, you could replace, take off the roof and lower the slope of the trusses.
Yeah, you can do that. There's many different ways. I'm sure they're out there. It's like I don't know how economical or what the monetary number here is,
Yeah.
but you have to. And you have to.
Drop the
You
building.
cannot drop the building at this
You can
point.
change the slope of the roof.
Yeah, but that's a significant amount of work. to do.
Yeah, right.
Question.
Wait, can I finish? Yeah. And there's no way to add more soil around the building to,
That is there. If you measure from the current grade we have there right now, like existing grade now,
yeah.
the building will be not in violation because if you measure from this, but if you measure from the original grade,
Yeah.
then the building is.
So you can't like cheat and just pile more dirt around the building to make it,
Can't do that. That's Fairfield regulation.
it goes by, sorry?
Take the lower of the two.
Okay, so that's why,
That's there.
so it doesn't matter if they pile dirt up around it.
No.
Just trying to figure out the whole thing. Okay, those are my questions.
I was going to piggyback on Jane's question was that so the one building, you need a height and a number of stories variance. The other building, you only need a number of stories variance.
Correct.
So you can't fix that based on the height of the roof because it's not too high. So how would you go about fixing, if we said no variance, how would you be able to eliminate the 2-story versus 2.5 versus 3 if it's not about height?
So my understanding, because I've been out to the site and looked at it, is that area that's not a garage, doesn't have a garage door in front of it, would either have to be changed to a garage, in the basement I'm talking,
Yeah. No, understood.
or filled in with concrete so it was unusable.
Is it an area that's to the left, so there's a garage door.
You're looking at if you go down the driveway and you look at the building, it's to the right. It's to the,
What is it, how big a space out of that and what is it?
So there's two buildings, right? So
Yeah.
so there's one building on the left and one right. One on the right where the basement is under the house. So that's what he's saying. That's what he's referring to. Like the one he's referring to, which is on the left side, there's a garage here, and then you can essentially have to make that into another garage or something, because the vehicle
And
storage.
that's the one that only has the stories issue, not the height issue.
That one has a both issue. The one with just the story issue is the one on the right hand side.
Okay.
If you're looking like this on the story, if you're standing on certain things, you want the right.
Understood. Yep.
So that's the one that's the one has no height issue. It's just a story, but it's basement, you know. So that's the one he
And
was.
that's because there's space that's in the basement that's not
not a garage,
It's
correct?
not a garage.
Is
because
there a garage?
There's a garage, but that's above. You know what I'm saying? That basement is really under.
Oh, so basically you'd have to fill the whole basement.
For the whole basement, there's nothing you can do other than that.
Can I ask another question? So as you're facing the building that's on the left, 2 garages are in the middle, and then left and right is not a garage, but how do you access that? I see a stoop, but there's no door. How do you get into that space? Just downstairs?
Right here, where the door is on the right.
Because I'm looking, it doesn't show on the plan.
There's a door on the, so there's 2 garages right
Yeah.
there. There's a
All
door
right,
on the
just-
right and you
just
enter and you
settle.
go in,
Thanks.
basically. Oh,
Might have
sorry.
that somewhere.
Okay.
Just-
I just have can I ask you the
Yes.
attorney?
Sure.
You said that the hardship here is that your position is the existing grade is the legal hardship. Do you have any precedent you could tell us about that? Like, explain that more to me.
So when you look at legal hardships, you look at the land,
Right,
and it has to be with the land.
right.
So it's not just the topography or the wetlands or, the slope by itself on the land. It's when you apply the zoning regulations to that particular characteristic of the land that the hardship would arise. So in this particular case, the regulation, the hardship arises in this regulation because Fairfield considers well, first of all, in the height regulation, Fairfield considers the lower of the two, which is the pre-slope. So, however, in the story section, it does not state that specifically. So, we're not arguing that point at this point in time, but so there's ambiguity in the regulation that arises when you apply it to the property.
But do you really believe ambiguity is a hardship?
When the hardship has to arise from the application of the
Yeah.
regulations, but
Yeah.
100%, yeah. Because if it's unclear or confusing, what you have is a void, and it causes a lot of friction because people don't know how to satisfy the regulations. In this particular case, to answer a lot of the questions about the construction process, there's a lot of, I guess, things that happen during construction that can be fixed with other fixes later on. And in this particular case, I don't, when they were aware of it, I think that they believed that they would regrade it and it would meet the height requirement, which it does, as post-construction. It was not a malicious or intentional, but in this particular case, because of the regulation, that did not solve the problem because you had to go back to the pre-grade.
So if you had, on your original application, when you came in for variances, had you known what you know now, you would have had to have asked for story variances and you would have asked for height variances. Because do you believe you could have built these correctly had you known about before and after grade calculations?
I'm sure, we could have made we could have done it accordingly, you know what I'm saying? So that was the thing, but it was, again, all in sincerity, it was all in error. It's nothing intentional. It's not like we're trying to make the use of the building more than what it is and all that stuff. So it's all in
Yeah.
construction error.
So the other, one other answer to that is that when you look at them from the street, and this is not obviously the standard, but they appear to be 2 stories. So it's not so the slope is the hardship because if you did not have the slope, these would be, that would be within the regulations of number and stories and height. Yeah.
Does the board have any more questions for this application?
Yeah,
Please, Jane.
when did you know that the first floor was built taller than it should have been?
It's at the end when we start doing when we did the height calculation that's when it is. If I knew anywhere before that, it would have been, I could have made the adjustment during construction. It was all the roof and everything, and that's when I looked at that's when we spoke to, and that's discussed with him and everyone else. So that it was more like, I didn't know we have to calculate from the original, not
Right.
the.
Your builder, your foreman, site foreman didn't tell you, oh, by the way, I made the first floor a little, you poured the concrete a 1.5 feet taller than the drawing said.
That was a miscommunication and not informed to me at in that time. But when the whole building was built, and you look at it, then that was kind of too late I couldn't fix it at that point. I couldn't fix the bottom of the, you know what I'm saying? So at that point it was too late.
I think,
Can I ask Mr. Decker a question? So did you just happen to drive by and take your laser and figure out that it's taller?
They provided me with a map, a survey on the 2 structures with their calculations. This map right here, this map here that had a chart on the bottom.
Right.
It indicated what the pre-construction, proposed construction grades were. The proposed construction wasn't identified. I'm sorry, it was identified at the start of to issue the permit. Both were within, 0.3 of a foot. But when they finished, because what they wound up doing is when they built it, the garages came up a little bit, and then they added the extra 1.5 feet on the walls, which pushed the ceiling up, brought in an extra 4 feet on either side. So it took them to a compliant, which was on the original permit, to a non-compliant.
Right. And the surveyor is accurate.
Surveyor was accurate. He brought the information in, and I told him my concerns, and that's when they brought me the survey to show me what the issues were. Yep.
Is there any other questions from the board?
I do have one more, sorry, not to belabor the point, I just want to understand what the remedy would be if the answer were no. And so, I understand with the second building, that if you filled the basement in, that would get rid of the story issue. With the first building at 45 and 47, if you lower the trusses, that takes care of the height issue. How do you take care of the story issue in 45, 47?
it would be, we would have to
Fill basement.
either add a garage door if it made sense for a car to actually use it, or fill it, correct? Which I think, based on the angle, would probably be filling it. I don't think you can, a garage door would make sense.
And that's all finishable space, like in 51, 53?
Yeah, someone can use as a rec area,
Yeah,
whatever
okay.
you want to use it as, or.
What's the square footage?
Got it.
probably a couple hundred square feet.
It's like a couple hundred square feet of usable space.
Yeah, it's like, because there's a mechanical room down there too, so that's all there. So it's a couple hundred square feet minus the,
So you can't fill it in because the mechanical room's down there.
it will be.
It's not an option. So you really can't fix it. Is that accurate?
Well, yeah, well, I think that's a really good question. Okay, so just tell us one property at a time. Can you correct 45, 47 Sterling Street? Because you have a height issue and you have a story issue, correct? Is that could you correct it and how could you correct it?
You would, as the commissioner said, you would have to remove the roof for 45, 47 and lower the trusses.
But that's going to fix your story.
For the height.
For the height.
Yeah, for the
And
height.
how do
And
you
for the
fix the
stories,
story?
you would need to, you could put a garage there, but a garage door in that front of that basement space, but it would not serve any car purpose. I guess you could just put a garage door there, or you could fill it in.
So it'd be like a fake door.
It could be a door that you just walk, you wouldn't be able to drive a car in and out of it. It would just be a garage. It would change it, you start playing with what's the use versus the practical use of it, and the defined use, and so.
And for the board, could you also tell us how you could correct 51 to 53 Sterling Street?
That would be, you have to fill the basement. There's no choice on that one.
Okay.
Well, there's a mechanical room down there, so you can't fill it in. Is that right?
There's a mechanical room.
There's a mechanical room down there, then you have to relocate like the entire.
So,
Right, so you'd have to move all the mechanical.
2 steps, remove,
Someplace.
relocate
Someplace wherever
mechanical.
we can, yeah.
By the regulations, you could put the mechanical on the roof and it wouldn't be a height violation, I think. Yeah, so, not that that would necessarily make sense, but.
Is there any other questions from the board? No? Okay.
I just want to mention one thing before.
Yeah, please.
And I understand the situation here, I understand what happened, and in all sincerity, all I can do is apologize at this point, no, we made a mistake, and we caught it too late, and as a builder, or as a property owner, whatever you want to call me, that we can be more diligent for next projects we're going to do in Fairfield, and we'll make sure these things are taken more in consideration than it was this time, and I hope, this could be our first mistake, and it would be, and will never happen again. That's what I can do. That's what I can say at this point. There's nothing more I can do other than saying that at this point. But I apologize for that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here or online who would like to speak in favor of this application? Seeing none, is there anyone here or online who would like to speak in opposition of this application?
I don't have any hands up.
I don't see anybody, no one in the room. We did have a letter, Matt?
Couple.
A couple letters that are in the application online, okay? Okay, so seeing nothing else, we're going to close this application. Thank you very much. We are going to move on to number 3, 260 Birch Road, map 138, parcel 159, petition of Eileen G. Kaufman for a variance to the zoning regulations section 3.5.1 to increase the total lot coverage from 20%, currently 20.3, proposing 21.8, permission to construct a rear deck with stairs.
Chair, members of the commission, Chris Russo with Russo and Rizzio LLC, offices at 10 Sasko Hill Road in Fairfield, here on behalf of the applicant for the property at 260 Birch Road. We're here before you for a variance to essentially permit a rear stairwell with a small deck on a FEMA-compliant raised dwelling. There is a front stairwell that's being changed as well, but that's actually reducing coverage, but I'll go through that. The site is in a FEMA zone, AE 11, elevation 11. But that doesn't tell the whole story because the average grade of the existing residence is 5.7 feet. The first floor is at 15.5 feet. So it's not just that it's elevated, but it's elevated significantly from the average grade. It's one of the lowest depressions in the beach area. I know from experience because the day after Sandy, I walked from this parking lot down Penfield and Birch Road on the way to my parents' house, and Birch Road is just one over. So the point of that being that it takes a significant stairwell to get to the first living floor of this house. And so what we're requesting for the stairwell, Chair, as you noted, is to go to a coverage of 21.8%. And a couple things about the lot. One, it's undersized pretty significantly. It's 7,676 square feet, where 9,375 square feet is required. So it's about a fifth smaller than what is required. If it was conforming as to lot size, it would easily be non-conforming. It'd be under 18% lot coverage. It's also too narrow. It doesn't meet the lot frontage requirement either, which, down in the beach area, we see a lot of undersized and narrow lots for the zone. Talked to my client, met with my client on this plan. When I discuss plans like this in the beach area with clients, these types of applications come up a lot down there, particularly with becoming FEMA compliant. One of the first things I like to look at is is there a way to gain back coverage? Is there something you can eliminate to gain back coverage? I know my client worked with staff on this as well. And so we're doing that, if I could point that out. So the front stairwell that you see right here is getting removed. And it's getting replaced with this straight stairwell over here on the side. So by doing this, we are actually gaining back 35 square feet of lot coverage. We're reducing the non-conforming because that front stairwell covers approximately 80 square feet, and the new stairwell is 45 square feet. So again, we're actually improving it there, but we still need that stairwell because you might see on the corner of the house is the electric meter. You probably know that in flood zones you have to raise the meter off of so it's flood compliant, but you also need to provide utility companies access to those meters. So we have that stairwell provides access to the meter, and it also accesses the front door. That's where that covered porch is. But again, that's giving us some coverage back. But where we really need the variance is on the rear stairwell. And when some of these new houses are developed, particularly down by the beach, the construction companies, the developers, they build the houses to code. They build nice houses. The building coverages tend to get eaten up quickly because the lots are undersized in this area, and you have these access stairwells. But I will say, residents come in and, they have different priorities on their mind than maybe what's on the front of the developer's mind. So my client purchased this property and is looking around and is like, well, what if I need to get out of the back of the house? And what if there's a fire out front and I can't get out that way? And right now, the way out would be basically out the window, which again, there's a 10-foot difference there. So I have a fake elbow from a 4-foot fall, so I would not recommend jumping out of the window there. So that's really what we're here today asking a variance for. It's not for more house, it's not for an addition to the house. It's the rear stairwell that would come off the kitchen and provide a second means of egress and access from the home. The applicant does propose a small deck. You can see it there. The stairwell comes off of it. It extends maybe 4 feet further than it would if it was just a stairwell. It's not covered or enclosed. It's just seasonal. One of those things that, those of us who live on grade maybe take for granted is that we can step right outside of our kitchen and we're on grade and we have access to everything. When you're on these elevated buildings, it's nice to have just a little bit of space as you step out into your backyard or kitchen. The hardship is the combination of the undersized lot and the flood zone condition. Again, if the lot was compliant, this variance would not be necessary. Likewise, the flood condition, it needs to be elevated to the flood zone requirements. We would not need a variance if that was not the case because the actual house, the actual building is compliant as to lot coverage. It's the stairwells that are pushing it over. It's only by 140 square feet. That's the square footage of the variance that we're asking for. I will also note the house is under the floor area max, so it's not a house that is pushed to the brink on floor area. I think this type of relief is consistent with other flood zone properties in the area. Immediately around here, 561 Penfield Road, 220 Birch, 288 Birch, 314 Birch. They got similar variances. The variance will not negatively impact the neighborhood and will not, I think, substantially affect the comprehensive zoning plan. It's a reasonable request based on this property's location in the flood zone, undersized nature, and it's for safety. It's funny, in some ways, I almost see the regulations regarding counting stairwells towards coverage as having good intentions, but sometimes leading to a bad outcome, particularly in these sandy areas. Sandy happened 14 years ago, and you obviously want to protect from a future storm, but then you also don't want to endanger people if there's a fire, which is probably the more likely thing that could possibly happen to this property. So I think having access outside from both the front and the back is a reasonable request. We did get the signature of our neighbors, including the abutting neighbors. I don't know if did you get a copy of that? I don't know if you got it yet. Oh, it's online, okay. But just so you see it here. No.
Thank you.
I will show you a map just so you can see who those neighbors are. This is just, I won't show you this plan, but this is just showing you, here's that stairwell in the front that leads the front door to the living room, and then here's the kitchen, and this is the deck off the back, and then the stairwell down. And then just to show you where these neighbors are located. So you have signatures. Wait a second. This is additional. Sorry, these are the people who received variances. Yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. So you have a petition with signatures from all these neighbors in the surrounding area and immediately abutting the property. Happy to answer any questions. Again, it's pretty straightforward. It's really just for that rear stairwell.
Okay, questions from the board? I think Jane has a question.
Okay, so, you have a third way out. That's not a window, which is.
The interior stairwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, but again, it's one of these situations if you need to get out of the back. If there's a fire, what I'm talking about is if you need to get out of the back. I mean, so if there's a fire, I don't know, here's the pantry or somewhere here, and you need to get out of the back, there's no way to get out back there. But if there's a fire in this stairwell, if there's a fire somewhere in front and you can't get
I
out.
just want to correct the.
Yeah, I mean.
You said there's only.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have said there is only one that leads directly outside, and that would be the front stairwell. This leads down to an interior. So there is only currently one stairwell to the exterior. This would be a second one.
There's a path.
There is a path that you could take to go inside. Yep.
Just to clarify.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Go ahead, Rachel.
What is the discrepancy in footage for the variance?
So it would be 140 square feet over what's permitted.
Okay, so if you're taking out the lower staircase in the front, you're basically picking up 3 feet there, correct?
You're picking up 35 square feet from the change in the front. And then with the addition on the back, we would still remain 140 square feet over coverage.
Okay, that was my question.
Right. And I hope I was clear with this too. If you stripped the stairwells away, the house itself is fully compliant as to lot coverage. It's really just the stairwells.
It's the stairwell.
And there's now a regulation that will exempt a stairwell to a utility meter, but it doesn't apply if you also access a front door. I think it's the front door, right? And so because this stairwell here accesses the meter, but it also accesses the front door, we're not able to avail ourselves of that regulation.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here or in the room who would like to speak in favor of this application online? Is there anyone here or online who would like to speak in opposition to this application? Seeing none, this application is closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going on to number 4 in our agenda, which is 53 Oldfield Road, map 182, parcel 199, petition of Theodore Fedorzian for a variance to zoning regulations, section 13.3H, to construct an ADU detached from the primary dwelling and to reduce the required side setback from 7 feet, currently 1.6 feet, proposing 1.6 feet, and to increase the percentage of the ADU relation to the primary total square feet from 40%, proposing 40.5. Permission to construct an accessory dwelling unit over an accessory detached garage premises A zone.
Thank you. My name is Theodore Theodorson, or TJ Theodorson. I live at 53 Oldfield Road. I have an existing detached 4-car garage. I hadn't really thought about doing an ADU, except my daughter, who is graduating high school this year for some personal reasons, is living at home, wants to live at home, and is going to Sacred Heart University. So we came up with this idea as a potential to do it. Basically, the ADU would be directly above the existing garage, and that's what causes the 40.5 discrepancy. I don't know what else, Tony, this is Anthony Marini, my contractor. What would you add to that?
Just name and address, and then you're more than welcome to.
Tony Marini, 200 Anton Drive, Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'm the agent and the contractor. If you guys approve this application, we're looking to just go over an existing garage. The foundation and the framing and everything looks pretty good. So we would go straight up and work within the envelope that we have existing. And we would ask for, from a 7-foot setback that we have, 1.6 to 7, that we need 7 foot to 1.6, and then the coverage would be just over the 40%.
And the 1.6 is existing.
It's existing at 1.6.
Okay. Can I, sorry, I always get, so, can you explain to me this sentence, and I think I should know, is the percentage of the ADU relation to the primary total square foot? So that's calculation supposed to be 40%?
An ADU cannot be any larger than 1,500 square feet or 40% of the primary structure's square footage,
The primary structure, so how
Yes.
big is the primary?
whichever is less. So,
The primary home is 4,700?
no, it's less than that.
28,
Yeah.
So your
something,
home is
2,800.
2,800 square feet,
Correct.
and you're allowed to build an ADU that is 40% of that number?
Yes.
It's about 1,240 square feet.
And is that only, that ADU is only for what's over the garage, it's not counting the garage, it's just the addition? Okay. And then you say your setback is currently 1.6, proposing 1.6, so you're already a non-conforming lot, is that? correct?
Pre-existing non-conforming, yes.
Okay. So you're asking us really for 0.5?
Correct.
Okay, sorry, I just had to clarify that, there's a lot of words in there. Questions from the board besides me, sorry about that.
It's
Please.
also for a detached structure,
Yeah.
structure as part of the variance.
Right, because every detached ADU in the zone needs a variance. Okay.
They have to be attached.
Like I always have to like remedial.
Please,
go
So
ahead.
the lot is not the problem. It's an oversized lot.
Correct.
So what is your hardship specifically tied to the property?
It's a pre-existing non-conforming building that's already there, and we're going to utilize that.
So it's pre-existing, it's the location of the
The
existing.
location
building.
of where it
That's
is.
what you're saying is your hardship.
Yes, exactly.
But you don't have to make it square to the top of the garage. You could build it and be conforming.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, I don't know, could they?
We would like to utilize the existing foundation that's there, so if we built right on top of the perimeter, it would keep it more structural sound.
Question?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I could calculate it, but you hopefully know it. How many square feet is that 0.5 that you're asking over?
It's just over, I think it's like 83 or something like that.
3 feet, square feet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a lot. And the building is like 48 by 24, so it's roughly 1,200 feet or something.
Go ahead, Jane.
Did you talk to your neighbor next door that will be affected by this?
Yes, so I've talked to the two existing neighbors. I have their signatures here. One has an email. The person across the street directly from where the driveway is, and it's a person across the street from my front door. I emailed them a copy of what I was proposing, and the four signed. I don't know if I can hand that in now.
Gerald and Rosemary Reedy.
Yep. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions for this application? Everyone good? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here or online who'd like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone here or online who'd like to speak in opposition to this application? Seeing none, hearing none, we're going to close this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to number 5 on our agenda, which is 904 High Street, map 449. Petition of KT Realty LLC for a variance of the zoning regulation.
Thank you.
Section 5.3.1 to reduce the lot size for a two-family dwelling from 9,000 square feet, proposing 8,167 square feet. Permission to establish a parcel to allow a two-family dwelling premises B zone.
Hi, good afternoon, the chairperson and zoning board. Very much appreciate the opportunity to hear our application today. So as mentioned, the application is to request a variance.
Just name and address.
So sorry. First name is Vic, V-I-K. Last name Chowdhury, C-H-A-U-D-H-A-R-Y, at 904 High Street, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Okay, please go
Yep.
on.
So the application before you today is to propose building a two-family on the current lot. The current lot size is about 8,167 square feet. It is currently zoned as a B zone. The single-family minimum requirement is 6,000 square feet, as I'm sure you all know, and the requisite threshold for a two-family is about 9,000 square feet. So we are short of that 9,000 square feet requisite. So I wanted to maybe just take the opportunity to maybe talk a little bit about the lot itself, some of the unique features of the lot, and then also maybe some of the potential benefits to the community as well over the long term. So in this instance, just wanted to maybe highlight the fact that kind of looking at Connecticut General Statute, Section 8-6, identifying a hardship, specifically with respect to how the property may suffer from a unique hardship. And this hardship is essentially given the fact that the lot itself was sort of plotted prior in 1948, and those measurements were prior to the introduction of the zoning regulations as they stand now. So as a result, with respect to the nature of the hardship, it's really the lot cannot be enlarged. It is a corner lot, so it does have setbacks both on High Street as well as on the neighboring street, which is Country Road. Just for purposes of clarity, the proposed two-family would meet all other setback requirements. It would not intrude in any other setback requirements. It is merely the actual square footage of the lot required, that requisite 800 square feet deficit. Maybe just to highlight a couple of other, as one of the prongs of one of the elements, I suppose, of the hardship requirement. This is not a hardship maybe that was directly created by us. It was sort of pre-existing to our purchase of the lot. We believe that the hardship is de minimis. Certainly defer to the board's opinion on that. But one of the really key things that I wanted to talk about here today was the fourth prong, harmony with intent. So, as we know, the town of Fairfield faces a significant housing shortage. There's reports that sort of indicate that there's a 65% housing deficit on the market as compared to 2019. That is real, and that does impact members of the community. So taking a look at this, I believe that with respect to a two-family, and again, hopefully maybe the actual visual, if that came across, is we're proposing a visual facade whereby there would be one particular elevation facing directly onto High Street and a separate elevation facing the neighboring street and Country Road. And really that, from a perspective of harmony with the community, it very much blends in. It's not a massive structure that we would be building that would be side by side with garages and possibly disrupt the character of the neighborhood. In this case, again, because it's a corner lot, it does avail us the opportunity to sort of maybe fall within the harmony of the neighborhood. One of the other things with respect to the neighborhood itself does have a fair amount of two-family homes within it. This is as I mentioned, it's on Country Road, which is sort of a horseshoe. Almost 20% of the homes there are two families. But perhaps what's most compelling here is, as you know, the address of this property is 904 High Street, and at 980 High Street, which is probably 800 feet away at most, there is a housing development coming in with 40 units. So again, when we look at sort of the character of the neighborhood, there are other projects in the neighborhood that have been accepted and are introducing more housing. In this particular instance, we're merely requesting the ability to go from a single family to a two-family. Yes, I think that probably summarizes kind of the key points. Again, really primarily wanted to emphasize that should this project be granted the opportunity to go into build phase, it will help to serve. It would help to serve address the housing shortage, 2 units versus 1. It would, as well as be in harmony with the neighborhood as we see greater housing being developed currently and in the future within this particular neighborhood. Maybe I'll pause there for any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Yes.
Please.
I'm looking at the your site plan, and I'm looking at the grid.
Yes.
And I'm not seeing the FAR, the proposed FAR. Not on here.
So sorry if we missed it there. The surveyor. So the proposed FAR would remain within the. So if the lot square footage is, let's just for discussion purposes, 8,200 square feet, we would go no more than greater than 50% of the total square footage. So which would be approximately 4,100 square feet between the 2 units. So each unit would be about 2,050 square feet. And then with respect to a footprint size, we would fully respect. I'm not sure if it's captured there, but it would be fully respected.
Okay, it says proposed lot coverage would be 24.7%. That's compliant, but big question mark what this has to do with volume.
Oh, with respect to the overall square footage of the home?
Yeah.
FAR. It would be, it would be to 2,050 per each unit, 2,050 square feet per unit. Yeah.
So what is that? I can't do the.
Oh, sorry, sure. So less than 50%, which is the B zone, still within the B zone threshold.
So because it's not written here and you're just telling us that,
Okay.
would that be a condition of approval?
Sure, absolutely, of course.
So can we apply that?
He's not asking for a variance for it, so.
But because it's empty.
He's got to comply with it.
It would
He's
have
got
to
to
meet
comply.
more regulations. He wouldn't be able to exceed the 50% because he's not asking for it.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
talk about that. Okay, so that's fine.
Any other questions?
Any neighbor signatures?
We've had discussions with some neighbors. I believe we have some neighbors here today as well that would like to sort of lend their thoughts on the project. So maybe I'll get opportunity to segue over to them.
Well, let me just see if the board has any other questions.
No.
Hold on. So, Elise, sorry, do you have questions? I'm sorry.
No, I said no.
Oh, so what is your hardship? Tell me again.
So I believe that the hardship is that the fact that the property was zoned prior to, the lot size was determined prior to the application of the current existing zoning regulations. The original home was built in 1948. At that time, for that time period, single-family home use was appropriate. But given the sort of the constraints today in the community in terms of requisite housing, I feel like the two-family would be the highest and best use of the property and best serve the community.
Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Is there anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of this application, either online or in the room? Okay, is there anyone here who'd like to speak in opposition to this application? Please come.
Yes, I would. I hope you can.
Hold on 1 second. We have someone else that's before you, and then we'll go to you, okay?
Sure thing.
Okay, so please come forward and name and address.
Sure thing. Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board. My name is William Polite. I am here with my wife, Ashley Polite. I'm the owner of 890 High Street and have been a resident of Fairfield since 2006. I live directly next to 904 High Street, and I want to be clear that I'm not opposing development of the lot. A larger single-family home could be built here and would fully comply with zoning. My concern is specifically the request for a two-family dwelling and a lot that does not meet the required size. The issue here is not square footage, it's a density issue. Zoning requires more land for 2 units because of increased intensity of use. In this case, there is no hardship preventing reasonable use of the property. A conforming single-family home is clearly viable. The limitation is only on increasing density beyond what the lot supports, and that condition existed at the time the property was purchased. In summary, the property is significantly smaller, almost 10% smaller than the zoning regulations permit for a multifamily dwelling. I've consulted a real estate expert, and they've confirmed that the proposal could harmfully impact the value of my home. This property was purchased knowingly that it was not large enough to support a multifamily dwelling. This is a major population density issue in an already overly developed neighborhood. I spoke to many neighbors who were opposed to the proposed development, but were unfortunately unable to attend. Granting this variance would effectively override the zoning standard and set a precedent for other undersized lots. For these reasons, I respectfully ask that the variance be denied. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. You'll have a chance to answer that, but I'm going to go to the.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Perko, name and address, please.
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Bob Perko, 42 Karen Street. I've been a resident of Karen Street for 40 years, 40. So I fall within the 250-foot radius of the property in question. So first off, I just want to, thank the board here for the opportunity to address this issue. The reason I'm calling in is because I really have some safety and traffic concerns with this property in question. I think the one issue that hasn't been addressed here is that this property is basically probably 500 feet within the exit of Holland Hill School. And having lived in this neighborhood for as long as I have, and for most recently been retired for a year, I can, number one, see the amount of foot traffic of walkers that we have that go, bring their kids to Holland Hill School. The other issue that I see is again, within this neighborhood, because we are so close to Holland Hill School, you have buses that are going into Holland Hill School. You have buses on High Street that are picking up children to take them to middle school. You have buses that are picking up kids to take them to, to the high schools. That there's so much traffic in the mornings on High Street. And as the gentleman who's proposing this waiver had mentioned, and the previous individual who was up here had addressed, the Judd Homestead at Russo Estate is currently being built. We are adding 40 units within this neighborhood. And I know that of the units that are being built there are 40 parking spaces that are allotted to that development. I have a hard time believing that of the 40 units, every individual owner is going to have one car. So what I am expecting is that there is going to be a significant amount of cars being parked on High Street, on the side streets, things of that sort. And again, it's really a safety thing. Like, kids are walking to school, unfortunately they duck between cars and things. So again, I agree with the individual who just spoke before me. I think we in the neighborhood would be fine if we saw this property being developed as a one family home. I think you're just adding more cars to the mix. And the other issue is, and I apologize because I can't truly give you the exact address, but there is literally another duplex that's being built across the street from 904 that's a duplex. So all of a sudden, within the course of 3 months, we're adding 40 plus units in a 2-block area, which is within 2 or 3 blocks of Holland Hill School. So that concerns me. But again, I'm not familiar with all that goes on with this. I'll leave it up to your good judgment. But I just have some concerns because I think there may be a safety issue just because of the proximity with everything that's going on as far as how close it is to Holland Hill School. So I appreciate the opportunity to present my opinion. I leave it into your trusting hands, but just wanted to address this from a resident in the neighborhood for the last 40 years.
Okay,
so thanks a lot.
Sure, thank you so much. Mr. Shoddy, would you like to address the concerns of the two?
Sure, yeah, absolutely, no, and valid concerns. Maybe I'll start with Mr. Perko's point with respect to parking and so forth. So one of the key things, again, I think the benefit of this lot here is that it will avail us, given the fact that it is a corner lot, it will avail us the opportunity to have 2 driveways versus just existing 1 driveway. So this will have abundant parking for both the unit that would be facing High Street as well as that would be facing Country Drive, and would not perpetuate any further further exacerbate any parking situation in town. And as rightly Mr. Perko mentioned, I think great point, right? The town has just approved 40 additional housing in the area. So, and maybe this is a good segue for the next point is when we talk about density, right? I think density isn't it density sort of dynamic, right? So density is when we talk about density in 1948, single family home, these lots were perfectly. It was a great fit for the neighborhood and for the sort of the population of the town. As the population increases, I don't know if we have the possibility to increase land mass. So the only answer is to increase density, right? And so, but to do it in a responsible manner, and that we're in harmony of the neighborhood and character of the neighborhood. And as Mr. Perko mentioned, there are other two families within the vicinity that are being built. This would be at least as attractive, if not more. And so I think hopefully, and we would certainly take input from our neighbors throughout the process and wanted to make sure that we're considerate to all those around us.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
I'm sorry, Mr. Perko, but once you've spoken, we can't have you speak again.
Okay. No problem.
All right, so we are going, unless there's anybody else, no, we're going to close this application. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we are going to, thank you. We're going to move on to number 6 on our agenda, which is 2496 Easton Turnpike, map 24, parcel 4. Petition of Jeremy and Brianne Dane for a variance to the zoning regulations 3.5.1 to increase the total lot coverage from 15%, currently 19.19, proposing 19.7, permission to construct a 4x6 deck to access an above-ground pool. Hello, name and address.
Good afternoon. Jeremy Dane, 2496 Easton Turnpike. I'm just here to request a variance to construct a 4x6 pool deck, please.
Okay. As much as we appreciate your brevity, we may need a little more.
Yeah.
So you're asking for a variance?
Yes, please.
Could you tell?
Yes, please. You'd like to?
You're being so nice. Could you please tell us what your hardship is? And
I think it's based on the lot size.
Okay.
Yeah, for our coverage.
Maybe it would help if the board asked some questions.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jane, do you have any questions?
Yes. Did you put the pool there?
Yes,
You did put the pool there.
yes.
Did you get a variance to put the pool there when you put the pool there?
At the time, I don't think that I needed a variance for the pool.
Because the pool,
It would have to meet the setbacks.
the pool is already exceeding coverage. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Outdoor coverage.
Doesn't count towards coverage.
The deck up to
Can be
this.
The pool does not, his deck will.
So previously, how did you get into the pool?
That could be attached.
Correct, yes,
You want to
yes.
make it easier, is what you're saying.
Yes, please, yeah.
And how big is his current
So,
lot?
wait,
Go
sorry,
ahead,
can I
you-
just back up?
please.
Sure.
If it doesn't count, why,
This
so the 19.1.
stairs,
is
the deck.
I know, but the current 19.19 is just the house?
Well, there's a house and the garage.
But not, it does not include the pool?
No, it does not.
Okay, that's, okay, thank you.
And Katie, could you just, does he have an undersized lot?
Yeah, so my question would
Yeah,
be,
please.
yes, would be, my understanding, let me know if you think this is your understanding, is that your lot size is 8,609. So it's 8,609. In an R3 zone, you have to have 20,000 square feet to build a home. So therefore, that seems like a hardship to me that you have a well undersized lot.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any more?
Also, by the way, one other thing.
Yes.
I'm also seeing that in your zone, you have a square on the lot or frontage on the lot of 75 feet, and in that R3 zone, you have to have a minimum of 100. So you're non-conforming on 2 levels, on the size of the lot and the square on the lot. Yes.
I agree.
Okay. Here we go.
Is there any more questions from the board? Okay, no. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak in opposition to this application? Is there anyone here who'd like to speak for this application? Okay, we're going to close this application. Thank you. Okay, number 7, 172 Cedar Road, map 226, parcel 67. Petition of Nicole and Jacob Olson for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 3.4.1, to reduce the street line setback from 50 feet, currently 14.1, proposing 10.7 to an open front porch, and 20.7 to a proposed 2.5-story addition. Permission to construct a front porch with stair and addition, premises AA zone.
First, I'll give you these. One neighbor returned it, so it's just not all on one sheet, but all the neighbors did sign.
Are these originals?
Yes.
Oh, let's get those to Tara.
Just look at them if you want.
And they will be, they'll scan them too, so you guys have them digitally. My contractor, Clark Construction, is here. So, sorry, Nicole Olson, 172 Cedar Road. We are gonna be adding an addition off the side of our existing home, which already sits too close to the road to begin with. The front porch that we're proposing, just so you know, there is an existing front porch there that is the same width. We're just going to be running it the length. And the reason it is not, the porch itself is not getting close to the road, we want to add an overhang to it, so when it's raining and things of that nature, we aren't getting poured on. The roof is what's going to exceed a little bit of what's there now, but we did from the beginning considered only going as far as the existing porch. So we're not looking to make it wider than it already is. It's already pretty narrow, but we understand why we would not be allowed to go beyond what is necessary to get into the home. Our hardship is a couple different things. One, obviously the existing building. We are going to be redoing the existing 1921 structure as well. There is also a garage off the back, and our other hardship is if you look, there is a creek running on two parts of our yard, and believe it or not, we have flooded twice thus far. From the back of the creek, believe it or not, we did bring out the town manager and I forget her name, the lovely woman who is in from the EPA. They've been to my home a couple times due to these floods because it's just so odd that we sit so far from the creek and we flooded. So they did suggest that we do not ever move a home any closer to this creek than it already sits. To move it back would cause a conflict of interest. The reason that we're doing the addition off to the side is the 1921 home is not built to regulation. It's been grandfathered in. If you go up into the attic, the rafters sit 21 inch on center. The floor is done up there, so we don't know that it can sustain additional bedrooms and bathrooms of that nature. We don't want to put anything in the basement level due to the flooding issues, so we're going to be leaving that strictly basement space. So that explains why we're even doing an addition off to the side. There's an existing bedroom only in the basement. That's the only way that this is a three-family home, so we're adding 2 new bedrooms upstairs, 2 new bathrooms, and then the third bedroom from the basement is also going to be coming up to that main level. Again, so that hopefully we don't lose any more furniture. I don't know what else.
Okay, questions from the board?
So the hardship is?
The existing home, we need the variance to build closer to the road for the addition.
Right.
Because obviously it can't sit 50 feet back because of us maintaining the original home, but also even if we knock the whole thing down, the town itself, the town manager and the woman from the EPA who came out to my home about the flooding issues said it would be a drastic mistake to build this home any closer to the rear creek than it already is, since we've already endured flooding in 2019 and 2021. No, both times I was pregnant. 2019 and 2021. Both times, yeah. And the floods actually, believe it or not, came from the back creek because we are a choke point for the neighborhood, unfortunately. So we're going to be doing a little bit of regrading too to try and help with mitigating that and keeping the water away from our home as best as possible.
So I'm also seeing from your survey that in your zone, the minimum lot size is an acre, which is 43,000 square feet, and you have 32,000 square feet. So yes, that would be a hardship as well.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to confirm that you're not asking for any coverage or FAR
No, we're within that, I believe.
Both.
Yeah. None of those, okay. Yeah.
Make it public. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, no other questions from the board. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Is there anyone here online who'd like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here or online who would like to speak in opposition to this application? No and no. Application is closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move on to we're going to combine 8 and 9. So I'll read them both into the record. So 8 is 1501 Kings Highway, map 80, parcel 52, position of Powers Court Westover LLC, Powers Court Properties LLC, for a variance of zoning regulations section 25.4 to legalize the location of a portion of the existing parking area located between continuous properties and under common ownership. Permission?
No.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. Not under common ownership. Permission to allow 2 properties who currently share a parking lot to continue CID zone. And then we're going to also hear at the same time, this is number, it says 8, but it's number 9, right, Matt? Okay, number 9 on our agenda, which is marked number 8, which is right, 1525 Kings Highway, map 128, parcel 50, petition of Powers Court Westover LLC, Powers Court Properties LLC, for a variance to zoning regulations section 25.4 to legalize the location of a portion of the existing parking lot located between continuous properties not under common ownership. Permission to allow 2 properties who currently share a parking lot to continue as the CID zone.
Chair, members of the commission, Chris Russo with Russo and Rizzio LLC, offices at 10 Sasko Hill Road in Fairfield, here on behalf of both property owners for both properties. As stated, this is to clean up an error that was on a survey. There are no physical improvements proposed with the application, so the site will not change in how it looks. It's going to stay the exact same. The properties are located between Kings Highway and the train tracks. It's a little bit past Whole Foods on the right side if you're heading east. Both properties have an existing office building. And again, this is the DCD where that use is permitted. So what happened? The site was previously before this board in 2016 in connection with an application to construct a second floor addition to that building on the plan and renovate the ground floor of the existing building. I think I submitted this, but I have a copy of the variance that was approved. Again, it was back in 2016. So it was approved for setback variances, and the board granted also a variance to reduce the number of required off-street parking spaces to 21 spaces for the addition to this building. It was granted, the addition was constructed. You can see the parking area on the plan, which actually has 22 spaces now, not 21, so one more. So no issue. Everything was good. They constructed in accordance with the variance. So why do you have to suffer listening to me more? Someone has now come looking to purchase 1501 Kings Highway. So this property, 1525 Kings Highway, is a little bit south to it, also has an office building and its own parking area. So in their due diligence, they ordered a survey, and it turns out the property line between the two the property line between the two properties is not where they thought it was located. It turns out they thought it was basically alongside the building, and it actually bisects all these parking spaces on the right-hand side there. So they're on both sides of the property. From a legal perspective, it's not a big deal to fix that. We just draft a parking access agreement and record it, and no problem. It allows 1501 to move up fully into the spaces. So that's what we're planning on doing. That's really not a big issue. But there is one sentence in the regulations that it's almost hard to catch because it's just the intro line into the minimum parking requirements table. And what it states is that off-street parking spaces, all of which must be on the same lot or contiguous lots, which we still have no issue with that part because we are dealing with contiguous lots, but that they are under the same ownership. And that's where we need the variance to correct this error. Because these lots are not under same ownership now. Again, there's somebody who's looking to purchase one of the properties. The regulations to ensure you have access to the parking spaces to support your building and the use that you have. And the truth of the matter is the parking access easement resolves that issue. So it really renders the necessity of it moot. Again, we're not here to propose any improvements. Those already happened. It's interesting. This was denied. I'm not quite sure what the next step would be because it's CO'd. It's been there. I think it was finished in 2019. So it's been there for 7 years. I think, certainly if this were to be approved, a condition on that a parking access easement be recorded would make a lot of sense. We're doing it anyway, just to ensure these parking spaces are for this addition, so they need to have access to be able to fully utilize those spaces. The hardship here is that the applicant was subjected to this non-conforming condition as a result of the mistaken property line from a prior survey. But again, I think the other is that there's no substantial impact to the regulations or the comprehensive zoning plan because the access easement really renders the need for that regulation and moot. This property is going to have access to those parking statements, those parking spaces. So fairly straightforward, nothing changing on the property. We're just trying to correct this error. Happy to answer any questions. You have questions?
Of course.
Yep.
I always have questions.
Yes, that's right.
So I can't scale off of this. So the way that these parking spaces are drawn, are they 9 by 18 or?
I believe so. They're conforming parking spaces.
So what I want to know is there, maybe you've already looked at this, whether you could take that whole row of spaces on the right and repaint the lines over, and would you still have enough room?
You'd have to move it up considerably, and you have to be able to pull back, pull in and back.
I know, that's
It'd
like,
be
what would that,
restricted.
the remaining width, would that be?
I don't have the measurements on here, but it certainly looks like it would be way too tight for that type of maneuverability. Because, you're talking about moving it all the way up to here.
Right.
So it's really going to
It'd be
pinch
too
that.
narrow,
Too narrow. Yeah, to set up the record straight.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say, based on this scaled plan, it would render the access driveway too narrow.
And then whose air handlers are those?
That's for this building, for the building
For
right
this building,
over
okay.
here. Yep.
And then my last question is, why can't they just sell that strip of land?
And move it? Yeah, so interesting, I end up causing more variances on the other property because it wouldn't be, I think you'd have a setback issue and then also lot square. It would reduce the lot square. And then you also have things like you have these air handlers. I know there's dry wells here as well.
Yeah.
So it ends up creating the need for more variances and more work than just saying, okay, just leave the line as it always has been, and just get a parking access agreement. Because it also, it would impact the coverage as well on that other property and reducing it and the FAR, so it'll have a lot more impact.
So this is a question for Mr. Decker. Is this the right order to do things? First give them the variance and then they get the easement rather than the other way around?
Yeah, they need the variance to get the easement.
Yeah, to make it practical. But I think if they were, linked together, if they were conditioned, they would record them all at the same time, the variance and the access agreement.
I can't sign off on an easement until I get approval from the board to do that.
And if something weird happened in between and the prospective buyer on the building on the right changed in the middle of that whole process, then what happens?
I would think we would still do the agreement just because currently they are in separate ownership. So just to formalize that, we would record the easement anyway. They have common members within the LLCs, but they are in fact different LLCs if you look at them.
Easement, who would sign up on the easement? The current owner or the prospective owner?
1525, so over here, would permit 1501 to access the full space, essentially.
Right.
That's
The
on their
current-
property.
I'm just curious how this works. The current owner of 15 or whatever it is.
1525.
Yeah, and then once that's all established, then they can sell it.
Then they could sell, because then this person who's buying it would know,
Wait, who's buying?
there's somebody buying this
Oh, someone's
piece.
buying that one.
Yeah, and so they want to know, like, hey, I can pull up all the way into this space. I can go onto this other property.
It's like, how do you get, what goes first? The chicken?
Yeah, well, no, this, I mean, to me, it's the easement, just recording an easement that says, which they can do, again, there's common members between the LLCs, so they just they sign an easement that is in favor of this property parking onto theirs,
And then the sale goes through.
and the sale goes through.
Can I ask, Matt, can I ask you a question? Katie, sorry if I'm jumping.
No.
So, what, the application, the attorney asked us to legalize the location of a portion of the existing parking area. That's weird words for us, because we're not a legal organization. Like, we can't legalize anything.
By granting the variance, you're legalizing
So
it.
tell me, you cannot count these parking spaces, is that correct?
Technically, that is correct,
And tell me why again?
because they're not fully on one's property.
So because they're split, you can't count any of them?
No, not at all. And to move them, you wouldn't meet the width requirement between spaces.
Yeah, I know, I was just trying to understand it for myself. So if we grant a variance, what is our variance that we're granting?
You're granting the fact that the parcel or the parking spaces are not, they're owned by two different entities.
So tell me how you would, I mean, the attorney might be a better person. If you're gonna write a variance, tell me what you'd say.
It'll be 25.4.
Okay, 25.
The two sentences that are right there is basically how the variance will be written.
It's the same.
Yeah, because remember, it's not, it's not, you're allowed to have spaces that go across property lines and have shared access. But the way the regulation is, they have to be under common ownership. So it's not necessarily that you can't have spaces going over a property line. It's just what you're allowing is for it not to be in common ownership. And you're conditioning it basically on the easement.
Because you wouldn't even need to come here if only one of them owned it. You could have an easement written without us.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I would just, I wouldn't need any type of
need a
approval.
variance.
Right, right. And usually, the legalized language we usually use when something's already in place. And so I'm coming, ex post facto to you, and I'm just coming to you and I'm like, all right, well, this is already all built, and then we found out this error, so we're trying to legalize it.
Other questions?
I'm just gonna, it's the same surveyor who did it then, and it's Land Surveying Services.
You paid him twice.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not sure about that, but yeah.
Okay, other questions from the board on this application? No, Alif, you're good? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, none. We're going to close the public hearing, and we're going to take a 2-minute break. Okay, we are going to now go in our discussions and vote on the applications for today. So can I have a motion to approve? And I'm going to bring them up twice. 45 to 47 Sterling Street, and 51 and 53 Sterling Street. And we're here to, they asked for a variance on height and floors on one and height on another. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Okay, Rachel's motion and
Jane
Jane
seconds.
seconds. Discussion.
So we know that there's a solution, but I think the solution is just punitive. And I don't think it would really make a difference at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree, and I also, while I empathize with the neighbors objecting, a big part of their objection has to do with traffic and parking, and that's not something that we can factor into our decisions, unfortunately. Sorry. But so, I mean, that, while that might be a disturbing and real thing, it's not something that we can act on.
Go ahead, Elise.
Yeah, I don't know if you're referring to that one or the other one that the neighbor came to discuss. I think
We're talking about Sterling Street.
Sterling. Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't remember
Okay,
hearing
well,
about
right.
the letters from neighbors
Thanks,
about
I
that.
still feel
I think there's letters online.
This one at Sterling Street was about the slope. He said the hardship
Yeah.
was they had a slope. And I was just also wondering if there was a slope, then why did they go higher and not lower? But that's just, I don't know.
That was my.
Well, there was a construction error that wasn't caught until later. It's because they built the first floor a foot or so higher than it should have been, and that compounded all this other stuff.
Right, and then, and I think they were asked, like, then what would be the correction? And then I think the guy said, okay, we would correct it by filling the basement. And then on one property, on 51, 53, and then on 45, 47, they said they would make something lower. So that was like a proposed correction.
By the way, the neighbors were on this one in the letter they are talking
The
about.
neighbors were on the other one. It was on the High
one's-
Street. It was on High Street.
This one also, on Sterling Street also.
This one had.
They talked about, one of the letters says, I already see significant parking congestion or problems on Sterling Street. There's not adequate off-street parking. I just wanted to let the neighbors know, well, that's a factor, that for them, it's not something we can consider. And it was both.
I mean,
both cases had that.
It doesn't sound to me as if the it's up already. And I will tell you that I know one of the neighbors knew that it was going to be built. So, I mean, it's already there. And they're saying they don't want it, but it's only a difference of a foot.
I agree with Jane, it's punitive, there's no point.
Changed, but
I get
honestly,
it. I get it.
wouldn't have made a difference.
No, I think they tried to fight it before.
Right. Yeah.
And since, I think because we brought this up during our general conversation, we can have Matt answer this. If they could have gone to their original measurements and didn't understand the before and after measurements, they would have complied, correct? With the height.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's why I do think it was an error, and I do think filling in it just seems so wasteful. So,
So, I mean, maybe save this part at the end, but we are often asked to waive, we made a mistake, but how many times?
I guess it's just a case-by-case basis, and, you wonder if we keep saying yes to mistakes, if we'll see more and more,
Right.
more
Oops, I didn't-
egregious.
yeah.
But again, we're a case-by-case variance board, and we have to listen to what they say, right? All right, if there's no more discussion, we are going to vote, and we're going to just go in order, and I'll be last. So, Elise, do you vote to approve the variance for these two applications?
So I don't understand. Are we voting based on them making a correction, the
No.
proposed corrections, or just as is?
We are voting on approving the variances as is.
Well, the structure's up already. Okay, yes.
Okay, Katie?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes, and that's for both at the same time.
Yes, so everyone's voting on number 1 and number 2, 45 to 47 Sterling Street and 51 and 53 Sterling Street, right? Everyone clear? We'll just vote one more time because we'll say it again. So Elise, how do you vote on both of these?
Yes, I vote on both of
Yeah, okay.
addresses.
Rachel?
Yes, I do.
Jane?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so that's approved. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we are now going to talk about 260 Birch Road, and they are looking for a lot coverage variance for a stairs on a deck. A motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
One of those FEMA buildings that they just need a back door and a way down, and I don't think that they're asking for an oversized deck. It's really just like a landing and a stair to go down.
4x6.
They're also an undersized lot. I mean, they have a clear hardship. They're undersized.
Yep.
I agree, and they need that access.
All right, any more discussion? Okay, let's go to a vote. Elise?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. That variance is approved. Now we're going to number 4, 53 Old Field Road. This is the ADU on top of the existing garage. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Katie, second?
10 seconds.
Okay. Discussion.
If we drill down to the hardship, there's no hardship for lot area for minimum square. The front all has to do with the existing.
Do we take in consideration the structure, this was just to build over the garage, but do we take in consideration if the structure that he's building over is sound, or is that, no? Okay.
Continue.
It's an enormous, addition, and design-wise, I think I would have done it slightly differently, but I can't really make a decision based on design, on aesthetics, as much as I'd like to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think from my perspective, they're only asking for, the variance is, in addition to the garage being already non-conforming in its setbacks, they're asking for 0.5, which is like, what do you say, 60 or something very small.
The setback.
Less than 40% of
The setback is the bigger.
Right. Like, so I personally have no issue with the 0.5. I don't have an issue with it being detached. It makes sense for that property, so they need a variance for that, okay. And then the setback, it's already there. It's already a non-conforming, it's already too close to the property line. And these are historic buildings that were constructed pre-zoning rules. So as long as a neighbor is not opposed to them building up that second story, I don't think we should be either. And we did grant a variance to his neighbor next door to do the same thing.
Well,
Not that there's no precedent.
in general, when we talk about hardship,
Yeah.
we want to make sure that there's,
Yeah.
we're mitigating a hardship, but we don't want to cause a hardship either to an adjacent neighbor. And I don't think we're causing a hardship to a neighbor.
Okay. More discussion? No? We're going to vote. Elise?
I vote yes.
Katie?
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes. That variance is approved. 904 High Street, this is a petition, an application to construct a 2-family dwelling in a 1-family lot. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a
Second.
Okay, discussion.
When they call this a 2-family, are they referring to one ownership with?
No.
It's a duplex, so why don't they call it a duplex?
We don't label them other than number of family units. 1 family, 2 family, 3 family.
You can sell each side.
But the town does in a different
Our
area.
regulations are specific to the
Got it.
number of family
I
units.
just didn't
And
know.
they could each be sold.
I noticed they kept saying 2-family, and there's other 2
They
families.
can be rented by.
They can be sold to individual
Right,
owners.
so obviously that's the main reason.
I can't see a hardship on this. I just don't see one. I mean, does anyone see any?
The only hardship I think he mentioned was that it was pre-existing from 1948. But I mean, other than that, I didn't really see any other hardship. I didn't hear anything else.
Well, it's interesting because what's proposed, that volume, that building they're showing, that could be a single-family house, just that whole
Correct.
thing, just as it is.
Right.
So they just wanted to kind of put
Two houses.
two houses into it, but it's this.
Yeah, but how many feet, you have to have a certain amount of feet for a duplex lot.
Right, that's what I'm saying, that's the
And
hardship.
how many feet are we off?
833 square feet.
Yeah, a lot.
They're
Many
They're
lots.
very strict about the duplex
There
lots.
are a lot of lots in town that would be
That would
overjoyed.
open up a whole,
But it's a B zone. You know.
no, I understand, I live in a duplex, I'm in a B zone.
Right.
But I'm just saying it will open.
Yeah, well, there'd be a lot of people that'd be overjoyed to know that they could.
That if we did it.
Enjoy that they could.
They could do it.
Duplex on a undersized lot.
Right, right, but we're not preventing the full use of the lot by saying no.
Right. But the hardship isn't the fact that, or not the hardship, but the point he was making about adding affordable or more, because we got more coming in that we
But plus,
know
that's,
what to
but
do
that's
with.
not our
Can't even-
purview.
We're not-
We
that's
can't
the
address
zoning
that,
commission.
I understand stuff. But I didn't know if he was.
You could go to the
planning
zoning
that.
commission, could he, curious, you could go to the zoning commission and ask to be affordable housing.
Or you could
Right.
build a single-family house and then carve out an ADU out of it. So there's a lot of options.
Yes, exactly, which you could rent.
For this one, would we take in consideration what the neighbor said, the gentleman in the red shirt that came up? I mean, he had some.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
He had a lot of points that he laid out that were pertaining to the, I guess, the size and the square footage and so forth. And I think he mentioned density. No, it was the owner mentioned density, but I think that neighbor, the gentleman in the red shirt, had a lot of details to. I didn't take notes of that, but
Yeah.
I think he had a lot of concerns, but he had some factual details that he listed that I think, I wouldn't say factual, but he had some details that seemed like they referred to the parameters of the space and the size of the lot, as opposed to just opposing because of traffic or whatever.
Right.
I don't know, sounded like he had a substantive argument.
Right, because we don't care about traffic, we can't
No, no.
deal with that.
Right,
Right. Care.
I mean, I don't want to say we don't care about traffic, but I know that the focus is not the traffic. But,
Did anybody
it was
mention?
the other gentleman that, there were two people that spoke against it. And the first gentleman in the red shirt didn't so much mention traffic. It was the second guy that was online that mentioned traffic. But like I said, the gentleman in the red shirt that came up first, he had some details that he laid out, and seems like some substantive reasons why he opposed it.
Okay.
Were any of the other, because there are quite a few duplexes on the country road, which is the same neighborhood, were there any of those less than the required? We can't go by that
Doesn't matter.
either. Okay.
He said, okay, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so if there isn't any more discussion, we could go to a vote.
No. I think the answer to that probably would be no.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, Elise, do you say yes to or no to this variance application?
I say no to it.
Okay,
No.
Kate's a no.
No.
No from Rachel.
I'm a no.
Jane's no, and I'm also a no. Okay, we're gonna move on to, I don't know, I would say our favorite applicant today. 96 Easton Turnpike, he's looking for.
Please.
Permission.
A huge
Internet.
addition.
He's looking to construct a the deck access to his pool. Can I have a motion? I don't know what it's called.
To approve?
A motion to approve.
Yes.
Okay, Lisa, can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Rachel, discussion.
I think it, quite frankly, it'll be hard for a child to get into that pool unless he puts the deck on.
Well, I think the
But
hardship.
that's not the.
It's an undersized lot.
Hardship, right.
It's a non-conforming lot. It's undersized in terms of the lot size, the square in the lot, and the frontage.
Right, okay, because he's 8,600 and it's at 20,000.
Right.
Okay, any more discussion? No, let's vote. Elise,
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Rachel, yes. Jane?
Yes.
Yes, everyone is a yes. Thank you very much. Okay, application number 7, which is 172 Cedar Road. They are looking to front setback, and a proposed 2.5-story addition. Can I have a motion to approve? Approved. Rachel, and a second?
Second.
Yes.
Discussion.
Too late.
It's okay, too late.
So, any discussion on this property?
She said that the hardship was just 1921 existing building, and also they had some flooding, right? And so that they were planning on filling the basement.
I didn't hear her say fill the basement.
Oh, she didn't. Okay.
I don't think she said that, but.
Or maybe it was recommended by someone who came out.
It's in the setback, yeah, right? Her whole house is in the current setback, almost, right?
Almost.
It is.
It's in the whole house is in the setback.
And you know what? Even though they're not asking for a variance and cover, it is an undersized lot. It is
Yeah.
well undersized, and they're still under coverage and under FAR. Is that right? Yeah.
She said.
Yes, it is.
Topographical conditions
Yeah.
that.
Right.
What they're
Right,
proposing.
right. Even if they wanted to take the whole house down and
They can't
rebuild.
go any closer to that.
And they can't go back.
Water.
Yeah.
And she did say something about the bedroom in the basement, is going to come up because it gets flooded.
Right.
I think that's where the basement thing came in.
Okay, if there isn't any more discussion, we can vote on 172 Cedar Road. Elise?
I say yes.
Okay, Katie?
Yes.
Yes.
Rachel's a yes. Jane?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. That application's approved. Okay, we're going on to our last combined applications of 8 and 9, which is 1501 Kings Highway and 1525 Kings Highway. We are legalizing the location of a portion of the existing parking lot. Continuous properties not under. Can I have a motion?
Under the same
Not under the same ownership. Motion to approve.
I approve.
Rachel, and a second.
Yes,
Jane, discussion.
I mean, the idea of making it a condition that there will be a parking access easement recorded, to me,
That's not our area, right?
no, but we can make that a condition.
But do we need to? I mean, is it our business
That what we.
that they file an easement? I don't know if that matters to us. What they're asking us to
I
do
know.
is allow
Yes,
this
but
parking.
Allowing them to make these, to
Well,
file the.
right, that's up to them. What they're asking
But
our
we
board
don't have to
do.
follow up on the easement.
Right,
We don't have to have a condition.
right.
Well, but why would they ask us if they weren't going to
But
make?
it's their,
It
up
has
to
nothing
them.
to- I
Yeah, it's up to
understand
them.
that.
Right, I don't, conditions are hard, like, we don't want to Yeah. put burdens on the
I do
office.
think, I do see the hardship is that that there was a faulty survey that was done improperly, and so that,
I don't,
let them fix
do
it.
you have anything else?
Yeah, but it's just weird, like, what if
They
we
don't
say,
fix
yes,
it.
they could use the
Yep.
non-common ownership property, and then everything stops there, do we have the
But
right?
then they can't sell it, because they won't be able to sell it if they don't have an easement to sell with it for using the property.
Right, but I'm saying, are we allowed to say park on somebody else's property, is basically what we're saying.
They both want it, is that correct? Both property
We have
owners?
two applications. We have one for each one. They're
Right,
both.
they both want it.
Nobody's opposed to
they're
it.
asking us for
They're
it.
both asking for it.
Both property owners want that.
One was asking for it.
They both are.
That would be a
I
challenge.
think it benefits
Yeah,
both.
that's a good point to make.
They're both
I think,
amenable.
the condition would be required at that point.
So this is a simultaneous agreement, okay.
And does that mean that the guy on the right who's not selling has access to the parking spaces that exist on the present
No,
property?
he's got his own parking lot. He has his own parking lot.
His own-
Oh, he has his own parking. Okay, I got you. It just has to do with the
Just has to do with the
survey.
one that's, the 1501.
Got it.
But the only way this works is that it's simultaneously.
Approved, right? Right, so we're gonna vote on 1501 Kings Highway and 1525 Kings Highway.
So can I ask, are we voting on this based on any condition, or we're just having to vote on this? Like-
No condition.
Okay.
So we're voting to allow two properties who currently share a parking lot to continue to do so. So when you say yes, you're voting for yes for 1501 Kings Highway and 1525 Kings Highway. Okay. Alith,
Yes, I vote for 1501 and 1525 Kings Highway.
Yes to both.
okay,
Yes
Kate,
to both.
Rachel's yes,
Yes to
Jane's
both.
yes, and I'm yes to both. Thank you so much. Okay, so before we go, we're gonna talk about other business. So I have something I'd like to bring up. Well, the public's already closed, right? Okay, because I was thinking that,
You have to close the hearing, though.
Oh, I have to close the hearing, okay. So I'm gonna close the hearing. And now we're gonna just go into one other business item I'd like to bring up. So, I know that everyone was on a lot of emails about how we do alternates. And, there was some conflicting information from legal, but we think we have the final answer from the legal team, which is, if a member of the commission chooses to name their own alternate, they can do so. But if they choose not to, then the chair, or me as the chair going into Matt, or whoever the chair is, can choose alternates on a rotating basis. So we need to have a process in place to do that correctly.
We already do.
Right, but we have to change it.
Can I add something to that?
Process is the same.
Well, no, because if Katie, right now, according to the legal department, she could call Rachel tomorrow and say, I need you to fill in for me, right?
But what happens if I can't be there?
Okay, well, wait for that. So what I want to first do is say, how do we do that so that Matt and his team are aware every time we choose an alternate?
Yes, that's the part you're
Whoever
referring to.
asks for the alternate must notify Matt.
I think that anytime you want to ask an alternate, you need to CC myself and Matt, or whoever the chair is and Matt.
In all honesty, to have it run fluently, I think whomever's requesting an alternate to sit in their spot should notify everyone on the board, and myself included.
Fine, that's
And
even
then
better.
Yeah.
That's, because then you know if you need.
Then
an
everybody
alternate.
knows.
Everybody knows who's showing up.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
as today
Basically, it's
happened,
what you're doing.
or as this week happened, Joe had requested Harold. Harold was not available. And I didn't find out until later, in which case we were able to get Rachel to sit in. But at a last minute, if you all aren't notified, Brian texted me today asking for an alternate himself. So that, although is a pattern that we've had in the past, you weren't aware of it. You weren't aware of it. Jane wasn't aware of it. So everybody technically should be. It should be an email, a common email amongst the group, at least for the next year and a half, because we don't have an election until 2027.
But we also,
But are we?
Hold on.
Go ahead, yeah.
But we also we also will always allow anybody to just reach out to Matt and say, Matt, I need an alternate.
You can have that, but if that's the case, then what I'll do is I'll send an email out to everyone
Fine.
stating that Jane asked for
Right.
an
Well, whatever you
alternate
say.
and Rachel is going to sit in her spot. But if there's a pattern of Rachel sitting 4 out of the last 7 meetings, then I'm going to suggest maybe we have another person sit in.
Well, okay, but.
Maintain that rotation.
Only if you do it. So the rotation only has to exist if the member doesn't select someone themselves. Rotation
Right,
only
right.
goes into effect.
Correct, but I'd have to double check once again with Phil.
You wrote me
because-
another email clarifying that.
Yeah, maybe so, but if Joe can't attend 4 meetings in a row, and he says, Harold, I need you there every single
Kind of
meeting,
conflict.
that might be an issue in regard to
Yes,
rotation.
can I just read something then into this discussion, which maybe you saw, that there is something.
Sorry, go ahead, Dana.
Town charter, where it describes what a conflict of interest or a possible ethics violation would be, which is when a member uses their position to secure special privileges or advantages for themselves or others. And just to be clear, if you're cherry picking who your alternate is over and over and over again, that sometimes might send a signal that that is a violation. And that's not for me to say, but.
Potentially it could. That would be a hard thing to
Right.
prove, unfortunately, and I understand where you're coming from, which is why I've always had a rotation. And, usually, in the past, I would just get an email, hey, I need an alternate. There is no name associated with the alternate, I just need an alternate. I'd be like, all right, well, my list is this. Last month, we had all three. This month, we have two. Next month, we may not have any.
But this is, I'm just saying, to avoid just the appearance of an
Correct.
ethics violation, just
Yes.
everybody has to be mindful of that.
I agree.
I mean, I would much prefer that members, we had the process we had before. If you need an alternate, you let Matt know or me know, and Matt finds an alternate. That way, there's no conflict and he can manage rotation. But Joe wants to pick, which according to state statute, he has the right to do that.
Permitted to do
think
that.
we should table this discussion until you have more conversations with Phil
And
Pierce?
I think Joe should be part of it as well.
So can I say something? I wanted to just mention, like, maybe also another thing that we could do is set parameters around notification. Like, say, if you're going to be absent, like, Matt should know within 24 hours of the time or something like that. That's something.
I mean,
Yeah, I think, Alif, that's correct, and for the most part, that has always been pretty common. There's been very few instances where a sitting member has had to recuse themselves at a last-minute scenario. But even so, I think we have a strong, and we've always had pretty much a strong alternate group to allow that if somebody needed to back out at the last minute, we can have that substitute come in. And again, if you, if Katie wasn't available and she, made a quick phone call and said, hey, Rachel, are you available next, in 2 days to sit for me? And she says yes. Katie would then turn around and send an email to me and Christine and everyone saying, hey, I can't make it last minute. I spoke to Rachel. She's able to sit for me.
Can I make a suggestion to keep it simple? Why don't we say the procedure is that if somebody needs an alternate, they send an email to Matt and the entire board either saying, I need an alternate, someone give me one, or I have selected Rachel as my alternate.
Yeah, and that's
Just
fine.
one email that goes to everybody, whether you're going to pick your own
you would
alternate.
have to have already contacted Rachel.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's
But I
right,
think
as long
as long
as-
as we're all notified at the same time,
Right.
and whatever, I don't care if it's an hour or if it's 2 weeks before.
So whether you're picking your own or whether you're picking your own or whether you're asking Matt or Christine to pick
For the
for
most part, you guys
One
know
email.
exactly when you're going to be here, when you're not going to be here. I mean,
It's one email.
Like, we're lucky Elise was so nimble today because Matt had an emergency. So,
Brian.
we all have that. Brian,
Yeah.
excuse me. We all have that happen, So he had an emergency. So how much time did you have?
we had a couple hours.
Can we
A couple
sit that?
hours.
Can we sit with just 4 members?
For
But
Elif
you
to
knew
sit.
she could come, because remember because I called you. I didn't email you.
Yes, I mean, I knew
But I
this.
mean,
I knew
then
this
she-
morning. It was a little more than a couple hours. I knew this morning that Brian couldn't sit today.
Oh, that Brian could.
Brian couldn't
Here's a
sit.
question. Are we allowed to proceed with just 4 members?
You can't.
I mean, we are allowed to proceed with just 4 members.
Right, we are,
Everybody's got to be unanimous at that point.
And then Matt and I have discussed that doesn't feel fair
Ideal.
to those.
We
So
wind up
that would
having a lot of
be-
people back out.
In the event all 3 alternates can't make it.
Yes.
Okay, that was going to be my question.
We can go forward with 4, but you're right. A lot of people will probably be like, yeah, I withdraw, I'll come back next
We've
month.
gone, in my time here, we've gone forward with 4 once.
Really? And what happens if there's less? I mean, does
Can't
that
be
ever
less.
happen?
Can't wait. Can't.
Well,
Gotta have at
the
least
zoning
4.
board of appeals
You
is
just
super
don't have the
majority.
meeting?
Yeah, it's super majority. You need
Right, so then
minimum
you
of 4
cancel the
yeses.
meeting till the next month.
Yeah.
So is that settled?
I think we should continue this when Joe's back.
Matt wants
But I
to,
got to double check
we
with
want to
Phil.
have Joe in the discussion and we,
So will you send an email that?
no, because we
of
don't,
when this will
you're going to
happen?
talk to Phil again.
I'm going to talk to Phil one more
And
time.
we will have-
Clarification on where we sit, but I'd also like, in my opinion, that the 3 sitting members right now that are permanent, along with Brian and Joe, be part of the conversation.
We
You're
don't,
more than welcome to be part of the conversation. If you're not sitting next month, you just sign in online. You're
so it would
permitted to be
happen
here,
at the
but
next meeting this.
I need an
I think
alternate. I need
after
an
the next
alternate.
meeting, Joe and Brian should be part of the conversation.
Do you want to sit for me next week? Next month?
But you said, you get to come and have a.
No.
He's not gonna come. That's not his purview. I'm just gonna get confirmation
And you know what, we are allowed to pick our own.
Definitive answers. I got a number of emails back from him. They were just a little conflicting at times, and he always reverted back to one. So I just want to get confirmation from him.
Bring up what I.
Yeah, I talked to him about the ethics thing, and he's certain that is it's too much, or it's not enough, I should say, to claim that there's an ethic issue. Although it can be perceived.
It's all about
perception. Yeah, perception is difficult. But in a court of law, I don't think you would be able to prove that he was trying to deceive the general public of placing someone in his spot.
Not he, just any of us.
Or, yeah, well, just in general, placing a person in your spot. That's all. But it's a great, and I think we should just, you as a group, should just discuss that with the five of them.
All right, well, is he going to be here?
I think he's here. I don't know. He hasn't said he's not. I don't know. Is he in Colorado for the summer?
All right, now, so we're going to close this meeting, okay? All right, the meeting is closed.
Done.
Okay, so I'm going to log off? Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.
You're the best. Thank you very much for helping today.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was fun.